Well, this was disappointing. Don't get me wrong, so was the entire episode and most of the second season. But I was kinda hoping that Vivzie wouldn't drop the ball on this one, lads. Foolish, I know, but I did have a huge respect for her vision once upon a time. Hell, I was a #1 fan for about 2 years. So it's only natural that I'd think there was still a smidge of creative prowess left in that noggin of hers. Unfortunately, my hopes were misplaced, and Octavia was once again next to worthless in her very own episode. Or at least it was originally her episode. Don't get me started. Also, that's 3 for 3, by the way, for those counting, which is just, yeah. I'm sorry, Bird. Maybe a real creator will finally give you justice or something. You're not gonna find it here. So for those who haven't yet watched the season finale, let me save any of you who are hoping for more Bird content from wasting your 30 minutes with this steaming pile of mega garbage. What does the mega garbage contain? It's Stolets. You knew it was Stolets. It's Stolets again. This can't come as a surprise to you, don't you lie to me. Octavia gets nothing to do in this episode. She's not even on the box art. Millie's on the box art. Why is Millie on the box art? I mean, Octavia is in the episode a decent amount, I suppose, but she only does 3 things. Get her phone stolen by Mother, chuck a level 7 big whinge, and then finally commit dark magic upon the heretics. How can you out-magic this man? Isn't he a god? Plot armor doesn't count as magic, you can't just summon that. Oh, and she also loses all of her brain cells and gets hijacked by the writers into becoming denser than the planet Mars. The final lines from her are just so mind-numbingly awful and predictable, and Jesus woman, what are you doing? This is why people hire writers, by the way. Her decision to tell Stolas to get lost before he could explain anything could have totally worked if it wasn't forced. It makes sense that she would think she's been ignored for years purely because of Blitzo, especially since that is totally what happened. But the way it was handled is just terrible. There is no manipulation the entire season regarding her and Stella. You know, the woman who's supposed to manipulate everyone. The story beat was right there. They only say one line to each other the entire series, and it's just when Stella nicks the phone. That's it. That's all we get. She doesn't even really talk to Octavia. She just starts a mega-lolling with Andrealphus about how Stolas is calling his daughter. Why is that funny? Is that not something fathers do? Doesn't he always do that? Octavia decides, off screen I guess, that father is replacing her with Blitz. Great, fantastic, but why do you think that, Octavia? We never get to see why she thinks any of this. There's no scene of Stella convincing her daughter that her father is terrible, which he is. And that's another thing, the show portrays Octavia as if she's simply wrong about Stolas, and makes it seem like she misunderstands the situation, which, yeah, it might be slightly more complicated than she knows, but as far as we can tell, you haven't spent time with your daughter instead of your boyfriend in over 2 years. For all the audience has heard of it, this was canonically the final time you two have spoken outside of the Ice Palace, and it was at the start of the season. Vivzie's hatred of female characters is actively poisoning the audience's understanding of all of the female characters, which, shocker. We don't have time to figure out why Octavia thinks what she thinks because we have to do another Stolitz arc. I know we've already done 7 this episode, but trust me, the audience will love it. Just copy and paste the last episode. It worked brilliantly last time. Also, as a funny prank, let's spend the entire season ignoring Millie and Loona until we decide to give Millie the most predictable story beat possible. We're still going to ignore Loona though. Don't get me started on Millie. I'm just going to vomit all over my microphone again. It's such pain. These characters are awesome, or they would be if they were, you know, piloted by someone who isn't made of cheese. Actually, it's mostly the female characters, which is ironic because those are the characters that Vivzie hasn't touched yet. Moxie is shite, Blitz is overdone, and I wish for Stolas to please have his memory erased Cappy style so that we may have a proper father dynamic without, oh my gosh, look a while, Blitzo appeared in my daughter's episode again. That's the 3rd time, which doesn't sound too bad until you realize it's all 3 episodes Octavia's present for. Her song is actually pretty good, I won't lie. Shocker, her voice actor's good at singing. Guess you won't have to replace this one, Vivzie, you fucking hack. It's a shame the song fails the Bechdel test along with every single episode in the entire universe. Plus, it's only about her dad, as opposed to who she is as a character in any way. I would adore to have a single scene, it can only be a couple of minutes, where Octavia and Stella talk at all even once about anything other than what Stolas is doing today. But that's never gonna happen because Stella and Octavia are there purely to facilitate Stolas. They don't exist without him, they exist purely because of him. That's what the Bechdel test is, that's why you keep failing it. Look, as I've said before, I'm not a writer. I mean, I did technically write a Skyrim fanfic once, but I was 13 and it was shit, so I guess technically I am a writer, just not a very good one, which means we have more in common than I thought. But from what many writing humans have told me, by the way, some of these people are really prestigious and they comment on my videos, so that's cool. From what they they've told me, these characters have excellent bases. A daughter with a manipulative mother and a deadbeat father is an interesting dynamic. Sure, it's practically as cliche can be, but hell, it could be multitudes better than what we've got now, especially since all of the characters are written by a cardboard cutout of what we think a writer might be, but we're not sure. Oh, and while we were making this cardboard cutout of a writer, we accidentally snorted the entire universe's worth of cocaine. So that's a shame. I'm sure it won't affect the final product. No one's gonna notice anything. During Octavia's final scene, she does the horrible trope of walking off before Stolas can explain the situation, because shocker. Does it make sense for her? I mean, I don't think so. She's smarter than that, maybe. Jesus Christ, 2 entire seasons and we've seen the character for less screen time than Lyle fucking Lipton. So it's no wonder nobody can figure out who Octavia is, never mind how she's supposed to act. Sure, I can buy her being super emotional and storming off if I had any reason to believe for even a moment that she would actually do all of that. And it wasn't just Vivzie forcing more drama and misunderstanding into a scene to the point of bursting, because she's as talented a writer as I am a Banshee main. God, I fucking hate Banshee. And to anyone who doubts her artificial drama injections, let's take a look at this scene. Octavia finds the happy pills, right? What do you reckon is the conclusion she comes to regarding them? Take a moment to think about it, right? There's a couple of things that she could think when she's found them: that Stolas is just stressed, that his harpy of a wife is causing him to be sad, that they aren't even really his, or maybe his royal situation is resulting in him needing them to cope, or maybe it's the fact that he's been kidnapped twice, or the fact that Stella's brother's trying to murder him, or the fact that he lost his job for like 100 years. There's a lot of reasons this man could be taking all the pills. Well, those are all good answers, but nope. Octavia decides with her galaxy brain that her father is taking those tablets because of her. How?
Was this my fault that you needed these?
No, never, Via, sweetie, please.
Have you never spoken to a human before? You haven't, have you? You don't know what a human is, because this is not how humans do human things. From what I've heard anyway, I don't really know human stuff. I only know sand. Yes, I know, Octavia's a bird, but that's not quite the point. Why in the piss would Octavia absorb cognitive brain death from the air, I guess? Maybe she absorbs processed dung like a flower and gets it from the sun, or maybe the roots that she has. And she used all of this mega dumb to somehow conclude that she's the problem in Stolas' life. Other than the fact that he's told you that you aren't and you're the only good thing like 17 times in a row. Again, I would be willing to accept this, not really, if Octavia had an actual character and wasn't just a plot device. If we had any evidence that she is supposed to be super dense and has the IQ of Patrick's fucking rock, then yeah, I'd be like, I can vibe with this. I can't vibe with this. I hate you. But at least it would make sense, I think. But we've only spent 5 seconds with Octavia in the whole series. This is the only time she's seen away from her father's influence, and she spends this time singing purely about him, for fuck's sake. Yes, she was away from Stolas in Stars and Stripes or whatever, but that entire situation was about him too. She's there because he won't take her to look at things. I would just like to see Stella and Octavia actually be characters. I know Vivzie despises the Owlet for unknown political reasons or something, but maybe when she gets shown again in like 4 years from now in season 8, she can have her own development and share more than one word with her own mother about anything other than fucking Stolas. How has Octavia said more to Blitz than her family? But what do you think, dear viewer? Are you as disappointed with Octavia's finale as I am, or are you just numb about it now? To be honest, I flicker between the two. Maybe you never even cared for the character and just click the video to support the channel, in which case thank you very much for watching. The next video will be on either Stolas or Stella, depending on how I'm feeling in about 2 weeks, so keep an eye out for all of that. If you enjoyed the video, a sub and a like would be super appreciated as always, and the rest of the Rant series will show up shortly for those interested in the rest of these kind of videos. Good night, humans. I'll see you all again real soon.